But Gary, if you were introducing this to people that you knew were skeptics starting out, that really there's not good information about Jesus, and you know, when you compare the New Testament with ancient history and so on, you know, this stuff is kind of fairy tales and that stuff's really good stuff, solid stuff, okay? How would you start your 6+1?
Sometimes I work from the cross down to about 100. Sometimes I start at 100 and go back. But the worst the answer gets in terms of time and data would be to say, well, we've got these 4 books we call the Gospels, the first 3 called the Synoptic Gospels, and even using critics' dates, Mark would be placed at 65 to 75 AD, or about 70. Matthew is usually placed about 80, Luke about 85, and John, everybody puts the bookends, Mark and John at about 95. Evangelicals often move a little bit earlier, but skeptics are going to hang in there. And here's the key. It doesn't make any difference which date you use. Because if John is the oldest at 95-ish, or 100 if you like, Jesus dies in 30, that's a nice round 70 years. And people say, they say categorically, oh, come on, 70 years. How can you believe something, especially religious stuff, 70 years later? I say, time out. Have you looked at secular history? Have you looked at other religious data? For example, people think I'm using a bad example if I say, well, Alexander the Great. I'm not talking about an inscription or a rock or something. I'm talking about a biography that would correspond to the Gospels, only for Alexander. And our earliest sources, now there were earlier ones for Alexander. We may find them someday, but right now they don't exist. The earliest ones that are extant, the first one starts about 280 years after Alexander died. 280. So John's horrible at 70, but Alexander's fine at 280?
Yeah, and if you ask any secular historian, what do you think about Alexander the Great? That he didn't exist because he, you know, his biography was, you know, starting off at 280 after he lived? There's not one historical scholar in the world that say Alexander the Great didn't live.
Right, but I've even prejudiced that answer because the earliest one is 280, but the best sources, Plutarch and Arrian, are plus 4¼ to 450. Almost a half a millennium after Alexander died. Okay, so the first comeback was, you're too late. Not so on the ancient time frame here.